Welcome back. Now joining us to continue this discussion on the trips the president has made since assuming office in mid-2015 is the chief strategist of Revamp Media, Mr. Ilewo Kikiowo. It's a pleasure to have you on the program this afternoon.
Victor, nice being here with you.
All right, so let's just begin with what it costs the president to make a trip outside of Nigeria.
The government itself has not been forthcoming with what it costs the government, to sponsor these trips overseas. But I know some people have put the figure at around $500,000, which is a lot of money. I know specifically for the media people, the media budget is usually around $10,000.
Well, it's your constituency, so you should.
I mean that's a lot, and comparing to what we've been getting from the trips. So we can do better than that.
All right. So when you say compared from what we've been getting from the trips, what do you mean exactly? You mean we don't get commensurate outcomes or benefits from these trips?
Yes, to be precise. Not from all the trips, though. For example, the last trip of Mr. President to China has been a very lovely one. But aside to that, what we should consider is this. There is no structure in this country. In other words, we don't have a very strong foreign policy. Before now, we don't actually know what our foreign policy is in this country. There's a Minister of Foreign Affairs, right? Godfrey Onyema. Who knows about him? But in the US, if we all talk about the Secretary of State, we all know who that is. And so I think we don't have a structure around our foreign policy today, and that's why the president has to travel everywhere for every occasion. When every Tom, Dick, and Harry invites our president, it's over there. His last trip to the US, I think it was totally unnecessary. We are not producing anything nuclear. In fact, we're going to start producing pencil in the next 3 years. We are going for a nuclear. It was a totally unnecessary trip. But for the China, for the China trip, it was on point.
All right, but I'm somehow of the opinion that the president's presence actually speaks volumes, because the president is saying that these trips he's making is to, one, drive investment, as well as also in the fight against corruption, talking about the monies that Nigerians have stashed in banks in these countries. His presence says a lot. It tells more about his commitment to these countries. Now, looking at the fact that, looking at his campaign promises, talking about the fight against corruption, how he wants to bring about development and investors. If he doesn't go himself, don't you think there will be a little bit of...
Not necessarily, Victor. His presence doesn't mean that the investments are going to come into this country. Don't forget, before the advent of President Muhammadu Buhari, we've had President Olusegun Obasanjo, who was almost a foreign minister himself. We've had President Yar'Adua, President Goodluck Jonathan. In fact, they've all gone to this same China, signed a whole lot of bilateral agreements with this country, and nothing has come out of them. In fact, I remember clearly during the era of President Yar'Adua, he went to China to sign some very lovely agreements, but nothing came out of it, which still brings us back to the issue of structure around our foreign policy. There's no follow-up to this thing. So we just go on this jamboree, I call it, sign agreement, take lovely photographs, and at the end of the day, nothing comes out of it. So it is not until you go to these countries that you will make sense of these trips. It is what happens after it. Of course, they said that the last trip to China now, that Mr. President's trip to China, this last trip, has brought in $6 billion investment into this country. I think when we can justify the amount of money that was spent on that trip is when we start seeing those investments flowing. Until then, we're just still kidding ourselves.
What should we be doing differently?
Thank you very much. I think, first of all, we should strengthen our structures. We should give a face to our foreign policy. What is our foreign policy today, Victor? You don't know it. Are we tilting towards the West? Are we tilting towards the Arab countries? We don't. Everything is just being done haphazardly. So let us have a policy framework in place as regards our foreign policy, and of course, that foreign policy must take into cognizance the interest of ordinary Nigerians. Because aside that, we're just deceiving ourselves. So we must put that structure in place, and we must put someone in place to drive it. What's the essence of we having a foreign minister? It is only on very important trips that the president must. It is only very important trips that the president must embark on. So all of those trips do not necessarily have to take place.
Well, talking about foreign policy, or I mean, because the president in his speech he said, "I belong to nobody and I belong to everybody," and probably that's why he's going to China, he's going to America, you know, because they are, I mean, so to speak, now they are loggerheads. One is a communist state and the other is a democratic state. So you can understand why he probably doesn't have a direct or hasn't made a statement on what exactly his foreign policy would.
Sorry, Victor, but I think he should have. You should have. One of my problem with our leaders is this: they don't take us serious as a country. When anything happens in the US or in those Western nations, I mean, their president is in front of the entire nation addressing the people. But I mean, they treat us with so much disrespect in this country. And as a citizen, nobody knows what the president is going to do in this place. It doesn't address us. It doesn't. We don't know what is happening.
Well, let's hope all that changes in the very near future. Yeah. But we have to leave this discussion here. Mr. Ileo Wokikio, Chief Strategist of Revamp Media. Thanks for coming to the program.
Thank you very much
and sharing your thoughts. Well, that's where we are. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, we do see your comments coming in. That's on our social media platforms, Twitter, as well as Facebook and Google+. We'll look at those and then review the most viewed videos on our YouTube channel in the past week. Please stay with us.
The video of presidential spokesperson Femi Adesina asking Nigerians complaining of the shortage in power supply to hold pipeline vandals responsible tops this week's most viewed videos from the bottom. In fourth place is Ekiti State Governor Ayo Fayose and his associate Tope Aluko, announcing a truce after a public fallout.
Now when you say right here, well, if you are coming here to do what?
And the video of Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike bearing his mind on the political intrigues of the oil-rich Niger Delta state takes the third spot. Coming in second is this long queue of traffic as a result of the lingering scarcity of PMS, that is the premium motor spirit, also known as petrol. While in the first place is a video of lawmakers in the Nasarawa State House of Assembly engaging in a free-for-all over the appointment of local government sole administrators in the state.
Well, there you go. I am as shocked as you are. Members of the Nasarawa State House of Assembly doing what they're not supposed to be doing. Yes, let me just put it that way. However, recent polls have shown that while some are supportive of the trips, others are not. But the president believes the trips are necessary, and he needs those trips to gain the confidence of world leaders and extract commitments from them in his quest to restore Nigeria's lost glory and repatriate some of the looted funds stashed in their banks. But as the saying goes, the end justifies the means, but only time will tell if these trips will bring about the desired results. Well, that's the program this week, but as always, the conversation continues online via the addresses showing on your screen. Thank you for watching. I am Victor Matthias.